And the KrakCast is back. Welcome, everybody. I'm John. That's Dave. That's Josh. Quick reminder that the KrakCast is on YouTube and iTunes and Spotify, so make sure you check out the platform that works for you. All right, on with the show. We have, how many museums do you think we have here in Krakow? 100,000? 200,000? Dave, how many?
There are several museums in Krakow.
Yeah, there are several. Today we're talking about my favorite one. It's a little bit different than the other. No, actually, it's a lot different than the others. Very unique sights and sounds. Beer. How many museums sell beer?
Why does it take so long to announce anything?
Of course, I'm talking about the Krakow Pinball Museum. If you haven't checked it out, you definitely have to. This is a fantastic place right in the center of town. Lots of fun. We're going to talk about all about it today with our two guests here in the studio, Marcin Moszczynski and Maciej Olesiak, co-owners of the Krakow Pinball Museum. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
All right. How do you get into the exciting world of pinball?
Well, it all starts very easily. You buy a pinball machine. Then you play it as long as you can. You get to know the table. You are improving your scores. You are improving your skills. It's a very, very challenging, enough to say, sport, form of entertainment, gaming ability. But once you play this game for several hours, you finally discover that this game is a little bit boring right now and you want to get another one. So you buy the second one, you put it into your living room, your wife gets crazy. Then you buy 3 more, you are almost getting a divorce. And then you're buying 5 more and then you end up with a pinball museum. Your wife is happy, machines are in the pinball museum and you let other people enjoy your passion.
Before we go any further, I have to ask, who is the best pinball player?
Here?
Yeah.
Me, which is Maciej.
Any comeback on that, Maciej?
Yeah, he's good.
So, do you guys have a top score you're particularly proud of?
Well, I think if you visit our museum, you will see MEZ initials on every single game. And that's this guy who is spending most of his time in the museum. And the games are free to play, so you know how it goes.
It's not like this that on every game, because some of games I like more than the others. So in some games, I really like to have the grand champion. So that's the purpose of my life.
Well, I was going to ask...
I really like the game, so I want to have the grand champion on this one. This one is like, so I don't really bother to have a grand champion. So I let the other people have the...
So only the ones you really care about.
Yes.
Have you ever had a scenario where a regular customer beats your score and then you really have to get it back just to get up his nose?
Oh yeah, we have we are now. This is our 3rd year. We are enough to say a little bit famous throughout Europe and in the pinball community. We have a lot of really top-notch players from all over the world right now coming to visit the museum. And some of them are really, really good, especially that some of these people have machines at home and they know the tables, they know how to score, and they can make really good high scores.
So let's start with the basics, guys. I was blown away by the layout, by the, it's very atmospheric, the museum. Describe how many tables, give people a bit of an impression here since we're only listening here.
Well, our museum is located in a medieval Gothic cellar, which used to be a pub. So there is a nice atmosphere, old brick walls, nicely illuminated. It's very nice and clean. And it's about 300 square meters space, several rooms connected by small corridors. And we packed them up with pinballs and arcade machines. Currently, we have 60 pinballs and about 15 vintage arcade games like Pac-Man, Galaga, the top classics from the 80s, from the 90s. The games we have also, the pinballs, what's important to say, are daily maintained by Maciej. Maciej is one of the best mechanics, pinball mechanics in Poland. These machines are, most of them 20, 30, 40 years old. They break regularly. Every day, 5, 6, 7 of the machines break. These are small issues or larger issues, but he can fix them on site. And that's important because you need to know your skills. It's a craftsmanship. It's like a watchmaker of the pinball machine who has to know how to fix a certain game. And these games are ready to play. The museum works in a way that when you visit us, the ticket is in a form of a wristband that we stick on your wrist, and it's valid for the whole day. You do not need to buy any tokens or coins to toss into the machines. All the machines are on free play, so you can enjoy them as much as you can. And as long as we have 75 games, you need to reserve at least 2.5-3 hours to play every single one of them at least once.
Plus, you've taken out one of the big problems, which is, I bet, the coins jamming in the machines. Yeah.
And that was a problem always. Yeah. Because you put the coin and the machine is not working, so you complain. Pain in the.
That's why arcade technicians were famously the grumpiest men on earth. Like, they never, the face you used to get when you went up to the window. That's wonderful to see. You repair everything yourself. That's.
Well, not everything, but
but
I would say Maciej is able to fix about 80-90% of
got
daily.
golden hands.
That's what his wife can say.
But not about my hand.
That's a different show, Maciej.
Oh, sorry.
You've got a couple of machines that are from the mid 60s or late 60s, I think, right? They're
Actually,
50 years old.
the oldest machine that we got in this moment in the museum is from 67. But now I'm working in my at home in my workshop on a machine from 55, which is actually the first Williams machine with 4 players. Because earlier there was a lot of machines where only 1 or 2 players.
So are we going to see this in the museum soon?
Of course.
What's Williams? I can see some people at home, just scratching their head.
Yeah,
going,
give
what's
us,
a Williams?
give us some of the big names involved in manufacturing pinball machines.
Well, we have to go back in time to the golden era of pinball, so the 90s, where there were several companies like Williams, Bally, Midway, manufacturing pinball games. There was also Data East
And Gottlieb.
and Gottlieb, and they were competing amongst themselves. Who will invent smarter, better, more challenging, and more playable game in terms of complicating or elaborating on design of the table. There were several people who were responsible for the both graphic design and game design to make the games more playable. We have to remember that back in the old days, these were machines that were produced for entertainment, but also to make money. The better the game, the more quarters or tokens or coins were tossed into the machine. It was making better money. And this is what was making these games famous and popular.
You've got one of your machines, I think it's one of the older ones, has on one of the sides, I guess it's plexiglass. It's clear. You can see inside, right? And you can see the moving parts. And there are tons and tons and tons of moving parts, right? And so, when you talk about Maciej, when you talk about keeping them in good working order, and Marcin said earlier about how there's always something breaking, it just blows my mind how many things can go wrong with a pinball machine. Is it kind of standard for something to break once a week? I mean, are you surprised if you go a week without having to fix a particular machine?
It really depends. It really depends because some of the machines, if they are prepared really good, they can work like, half a year without any malfunction. Nothing will happen. And then the other machine, because I change the parts only when they are broken. So you got 20 or 30 years old machine and the one part is broken, but the rest is like, was working for 30 years. So you never know what next and when actually will go wrong.
Is it difficult to get your hand on the spare parts? Considering some of these companies are now out of business or have been bought over by larger conglomerates?
It's not really problem with the spare parts, but the quality of the spare parts is not the same as it used to be.
So you're getting kind of imitation Chinese companies creating these parts, or is it?
I think so, because we are buying the parts and there is no brand on the parts. It's just, plunger for the Williams standard size something. And you don't know who is making that part.
Quick question on the older machines. There's one from the 60s. I don't know if it's just because I suck at playing, but I found them to be much more difficult than the newer machines. Is it just me, or are the old machines much harder than the...
They are harder.
Thank you.
First of all, the space between the flippers is much bigger, and the space on the sides when the ball can go,
Yeah,
it's also much bigger. So it's not you.
Okay, we've done who's the best pinball player. What's your favorite machine each?
For me, it's the Addams Family, which is also at the same time the most popular machine of all times. It has been manufactured in over 20,000 copies, which is the largest number of machines ever produced. It's dating back to 1992, when the famous movie was released as well. And it was an innovative machine. It has magnets under the playfield that suddenly distract the ball on the playfield and make it move in random ways, like in a way that the ghost is possessing the
Doesn't that
machine.
seem like cheating a little bit? It does to me when the magnets kind of take the ball for a ride.
It's challenging. It's challenging. Also, there is a special sensor that moves the flippers even if you are not touching the buttons, like the hand from the movie. So yes, the creepy hand that was moving around. This hand is actually appearing from underneath the playfield and capturing the ball during gameplay. So it's a fun game to play. It's a challenging game, but it also reminds me of my childhood when I was a young boy. We were going with my family to a resort by one of the lakes not far away from Krakow, and there was a small game room that had this one pinball machine that I was tossing all my pocket money into, and I always wanted, this was my childhood dream, to have this game at home, and here it is.
And now it's not at home.
And your favorite?
Actually, I think my three favorites are Attack from Mars, Monster Bash, and Medieval Madness.
Okay, so Attack from Mars, you're talking the 90s movie, Attack from Mars?
No,
or the
not
old
the
version?
one. Actually, you are talking about the Tim Burton movie?
Yeah, the dreadful remake.
It's like, it looked quite similar, and you can actually see on the market some back glasses that you can swap, and it looked like from the movie. So more or less, it's similar, but I don't think that they got the rights or anything like this. So it's like about the same thing, but that's not about the movie.
When I was young, I grew up in the 90s, and that's when I would have played pinball down the arcade. You know, you mentioned one that was huge. Every arcade had the Addams Family, and it seemed to me every arcade had the Indiana Jones and the Jurassic Park one. Are they also kind of iconic machines, or was that just the most popular sales?
Indiana Jones, yes. Jurassic Park,
Not so much.
not really.
No, it's about the complexity of the tables. It's also about the voices that the machine has. For instance, Terminator 2 has original Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. When you're playing Addams Family, you can hear Raul Julia. When you're playing Indiana Jones, you can hear
Dr. Jones and friends.
so
How about the Ghostbusters? I think the Ghostbusters is a fantastic machine and the best scream in the entire room. Yeah.
well, that's the fun thing about this machine. I don't know if we can spoil the surprise for our guests,
it's too late
but
for
thanks, John. Credit to John for that. The Ghostbusters is actually 2016. It's a current machine manufactured by Stern in Chicago. This is a company that
Beautiful machine.
still exists, yes, and it's making games, licensed teams, and great soundtrack. We all know, I think everybody has the Ghostbusters tune playing at the back of their heads right now. Who you gonna call? But this machine has a surprise out of nowhere. We do not know how it works. Suddenly, the game stops. The screen goes blank, and you can hear a terrifying scream at a very loud, high volume. The machine is screaming, and the ghost is appearing on the screen, and it scares people.
It is. I can tell you, it's fantastic. And I was scared. I even knew it was coming. I was waiting for it, and it still scared the shit out of me. So definitely see what you can do. I think I played for about half an hour before I could get the scream. I knew it was in there somewhere. I don't know what I had to do. I got
You
lucky.
never know. That's the
It's
point.
random.
It's random. You got two holes, and it's one of the hole in one of the moments. So you never know.
Let's talk about a bit more about the 90s machines, because it seems to me, walking around the museum, a lot of the machines are from the 90s, and they're absolutely stunning works of art, basically. You know, mechanical art, kind of the mixture of the digital element was coming in. There's an awful lot of creativity and craftsmanship goes into these things. I love when it's like a gun when you launch the pinball. You know, all the little touches. What's your favorite era?
I also like a little bit older games that were manufactured in the late 80s. They were a mixture of, and a bridge as well, between the old electromechanical pinballs that, like John said, were difficult and challenging to play because the playfield is flatter. It's not at a very big angle. The ball is moving a little bit slower, but the game is still difficult because you need to learn the physics. You need to learn how to control the ball, how it will behave when it bounces on the rubber parts. Because the playfield, well, we have the flippers that are covered with rubber bands, so they bounce the ball. But also on the sides of the playfield, there are a lot of elements that are protected by rubber balls. Bands, and they bounce the ball. So you need to learn how to control the ball. And this is quite challenging. The games are not so complex like the games from the 90s. They do not have the multi-level playfields. They do not have the ramps. They do not have the magnets and all the things that were invented later. But still, thanks to incredible graphic design, very interesting and challenging to play.
Let's talk tactics. How do you score big on a play ball machine?
Basically, each table,
Pinball machine. What the hell is wrong with me? Sorry.
No problem. There is also a few Playboy pinball machines.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. No.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Each table basically has a path, a challenge, a task that you need to complete to get the better bonus. You can watch YouTube tutorials or about each single table. Each single table provides several hours of really good entertainment if you really get into the rules. I mean, how you have to aim, where you have to put the ball, and how you need to get the high score. This is also what's so addictive about pinball, because for most of the people who visit our museum for the first time, they are in the candy store. You have so many games to play, free play, old games, all running, all in top condition. You do not know where to put
beer.
Yes. So some people like beer.
Let's talk a bit more about the customers. I've run a bar, and people can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Assholes. Let's talk about Rage Against the Machine, and I don't mean the band. What's the line for you?
We have a very strict no beer on pinballs policy, and
policy.
We have big signs everywhere saying that you should not place beer on the machines. Beer is more for enjoyment. We are not a bar. We do not have vodka. We do not have heavier alcohols. We have only one kind of beer, cold beer, which is the best.
So the best one, yeah.
The best one.
And you provide lots of convenient places to put it down.
Yes, we have small tables. We have spaces between the machines where you can put the drink aside. So it's more about playing, and eventually getting a sip to rest.
People always kind of attach the word retro pinballs, retro fun. And I guess in a way it is. It takes us back to a time when we were kids and we remember those times, years ago. But at the same time, though, I know a lot of kids who didn't have that era will go to a museum and still have a great time, too. Every age can have a great time. So there's like a timeless quality about pinball as well, right?
Well, yet it is. And I have to say that on one hand, we have the generation of the people like we, sitting here with people in our 30s, 40s.
Late 20s. So.
Late 20s. Late 20s.
Your dreams, lads.
Very late 20s.
But let me say that the people who encountered a pinball machine in a natural environment before.
Right.
But on the other hand, we also have kids that are 17, 18, 19 years old, 5, 7, 10 years old. And the only form of pinball that they ever got to play was an emulator on a tablet or on a computer. And this is a completely different form of fun and entertainment when you have a real interaction with the machine, which is making all those noises. The machine is huge. It weighs 100 kilograms. It has a big screen, speakers, blinkers, flashers. It's a completely different form of fun when you are playing the same game on your smartphone. It's a completely different experience. And recently we had somebody wrote on Facebook, there was a Swedish family, and the kids who were there with the father, they never ever seen a real pinball machine before. And when they were leaving the museum after nearly 4 hours, one of the boys said to his father, "Dad, you had an awesome childhood." And this is what's also important for us, to build this bridge between generations. So we are getting to know those pinball machines to the new generation of new pinball players who will also remember these machines.
That's kind of the funny thing. And I remember thinking that last time I was in the museum, about a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago, that, yeah, it's great for a stag night. Yeah, it's great for some kind of corporation and employee integration. Yeah, it's good for kids. Yeah, it's good for father and son. I mean, everybody can go and everybody can have a good time. It sounds kind of cheesy and a cliche, but it really is true.
I don't think they want stag nights. Let's leave stag nights out.
I mean, sorry,
They are a nightmare.
gentlemen looking for some entertainment for a few hours.
Yeah, well, we do get some...
A guy's night out.
Yeah,
That's
well,
I'd say the hipsters love it. The young hipsters must love the mechanical elements.
we have...
They only talk.
Yeah, they don't actually
They
play.
like it, but
Yeah.
that's hipsters.
Exactly.
Yeah, John can say something about that.
Yeah, I mean, really, who doesn't have great fun there? I mean, everybody walks in, as you said, like a Swedish kids,
I
never
got
played
one
before,
word,
and they'll
but
have a
I
great time.
can't say it.
You go right ahead, my friend. We're not on commercial radio here.
One more question. I know we covered this ground, but I'm curious about one thing. Let's go back to the 90s for a second, because like Dave, I think that seems to be the golden era. And yeah, like we said, you know, the technical capabilities kind of opened up. But wasn't there also a strong element of the pinball industry having to respond to the rise of video games as well? Arcade games that kind of had to come up with something that got attention or die. Yeah.
Well, we have to go back again to the origin of these machines. These were machines, like I said before, built for entertainment and built to make money. And what they were offering was the graphics, was the fun, was the entertainment, the complexity of the tables that you could not get at home. But to be honest, now your smartphone can do much more than any computer in any of those machines that we have in the museum. And basically the slowdown or the collapse of the pinball business took place in year 2000, which also arrived with the era of the game consoles like PlayStation that came up to the market at a very affordable place. You could have great graphics, great games at your home. And suddenly people stopped going to arcades and many places went out of business, disappeared. The market closed down the pinball production and arcade production for some time. Maybe not closed, but limited it to very, very small numbers. The latest games is the games we do have also in our museum. We have two titles from the series called Pinball 2000. And at that time, they were trying to integrate a computer game, a video game, into the design of the pinball machine. So
did it work?
Yes and no. We have two games. One of them is the Revenge from Mars. And it
Always
has,
Mars. Everything is Mars.
Yes. It was,
Yeah, because they were thinking what to do with this new pinball, connecting the video game and a pinball machine, and because the Attack from Mars was the really hit, so let's do the second part, Revenge from Mars. So it's pretty similar, but a different kind of game. Yeah, actually, it was a success, and the second one was Star Wars Episode 1. It was good games. But somehow they end production of pinball machines, so they just quit this part of the business and move the money to different things.
It was switched to a different
better
planet next
business.
time.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Maciej, you're the guy with the skills here. You're the guy with the skills. So let me ask you, and again, this will make me feel better about being shit at pinball machines. Isn't there a very strong element of luck involved as well? No matter how good you are, isn't there some luck? Come on, make me feel better here, Maciej, please. No, there's no luck involved? When it goes on the side and down around the flippers, that's
because
that's,
you hit the wrong target.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yeah.
You're
will
blaming
ramp.
me for this.
It's like, if you will hit the ramp, you will get the ball on the flipper. That's it. Because the ramp is giving you the ball to the flipper.
Not
If
the
you
answer
will
I was
not-
hoping for, I have to say.
Sorry. If
Do you know a ball that's destined for the middle, like even before it goes up? You know you're in trouble, like even when it leaves your flipper.
But even if the ball look at the beginning of your journey in pinball world, even if the ball look like it's going straight to the middle, and there is no chance to save it, there is chance to save it.
How?
Tilt.
Not a little bit. So
gentle.
You can nudge the table. You can shake the table if you will do it in the right way.
Or that big, long push of the flipper. Sometimes.
No.
I just made that up.
Actually, yeah.
And are your skills unique to a machine? In other words, you master a particular machine and those skills don't necessarily translate to another? Or are there universal
because it's
skills?
like, you know where exactly, how to aim. First of all, you need to know how to aim. So
I'm just desperately trying to keep it up in the machine. I don't really aim, I just hit it.
at the beginning, yes.
problem.
But then,
Have you thought about doing maybe an invitational competition? Inviting some of the best pinball players from around the world.
no, we don't do the competition. Other people do. You got a lot of competition in Europe if you want to compete.
I
That's
think
not
you
the
crush them
problem.
all.
No, not really.
I think you
I really like to, have a fun playing,
I see a
drinking
competitive
something.
fire
Until somebody
burning.
beats your high score, then it's not fun anymore. It's serious
If
business.
someone walked into your manor,
So far,
and beat
so
you,
good.
you would not be too happy, would you?
One more thing I want to ask about. I've been to the place I think 3 times, maybe 4 times, and every time some of the machines are new. There's a kind of a rotation. Some are kind of permanent, I guess, and a certain percentage comes in and out. You keep the selection fresh. There's always something new for somebody. Is that important, to keep it new for your clients, or what's the thinking there?
I think we have, the place is packed. We don't have room for one single new machine, but we have several machines in storage, several machines that we are still working on, and we try to change the games, the titles from time to time to keep people who come to visit us frequently entertained with something new. But we are not able to provide any more space because this is the limitation. We are packed. No more room for one more game.
Tell everybody how they can find out more about the Krakow Pinball Museum online.
We are on Facebook. You can also visit www.krakowpinballmuseum.com. You can also find us on TripAdvisor and on Instagram. We have a nice account. So we invite everyone to come and visit us and have some fun.
What's your number on Stratum? Stratum what?
We are Stratum scan number 15.
15? 50. So, yeah, really easy. If you live here in town, if you're walking on Stratum away from Wawel, it's on the right-hand side. There's a passageway. I think it's called Atlantic Fitness. Is that what it is?
Yeah, this is an old cinema.
Yeah, it's the old cinema of the, what was it called? Atlantic Cinema or Warszawska? What was it called?
It was Atlantic,
Years
then
ago,
it was
yeah.
Warszawa, and actually, yeah.
And now it's the fitness center.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just inside that passageway, you cannot miss it. Yeah, if you live here in town, definitely check it out as soon as you can. If you're going to visit here in Krakow, try to fit it into your schedule. Really easy to find, right close to the center of town.
And I just want to say one more thing. I love the ways of structured the pricing system. I think that's brilliant because anytime I look back to my childhood when I was in an arcade, I was just always terrified that I was running out of money, that I was going to waste my coins. And you take away all that anxiety with the business model you have, and you can just enjoy it.
Yeah, you just have fun. And, it costs like barely more than a cinema ticket, really. It's the same price, more or less, as a cinema ticket. And you can stay all day, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to encourage people to do that, but you can, right?
Well,
Stay for an hour.
the time flies, that's true. Most people spend 3-4 hours until your legs and your
fingers don't
wrists
work anymore, yeah.
start to hurt, and but you still think, oh my God, I wish I could have stayed longer.
Marcin and Maciej, Krakow Pinball Museum, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.